Like the PHXF thing. The guy on there, he literally thought PHXF took millions of dollars worth of lobster and steak, and I don't know, had it at a warehouse somewhere, and he was eating it every day with his family. Like,
he has spent $15 million in 1 month for ribeye steak, $6.9 million for lobster tail, $225 million for furniture. He spent more in the month of September than most countries on earth spend in their defense.
Paul, do you believe
all
do you
for
believe,
himself? Lobster tails?
Do you believe
while our troops are eating MREs?
No.
Do
you believe the Secretary of Defense is personally eating all the lobster?
Well, he
It's
can't
for
eat
the
16.
Troops.
Oh, really? The troops are getting lobster.
Frequently.
Brothers Defect has steak and lobster.
What you're talking about, and I run into this on CNN a lot. I debate people sometimes, and it becomes clear in the middle of the debate, there's a whole set of information they are not aware of.
let me tell you something that honestly shocked me. There's a new documentary called Death of Recess on Angel Studios, and it completely changes how you look at the education system. This isn't about recess. It's about control. The modern classroom didn't just evolve. It was intentionally built, standardized, centralized, and captured by powerful institutions. Billions of dollars flowing through the system while test scores collapse and kids fall further behind. And when you see who built it and who protects it, everything clicks. This film exposed how organizations like the NEA gained massive influence, how ideology made its way into the classroom, and how childhood itself is being engineered out of kids. Recess isn't being removed by accident. Physical movement, independent thought, parental involvement, all minimized. Parents were cut out on purpose. Institutions protect themselves, not children. That's why platforms like Angel matter. Mainstream outlets won't touch this. Angel will. They're willing to distribute films that challenge powerful systems. If you care about your kids, your grandkids, or the future of this country, you need to watch this. Go to angel.com/Tatum and watch Death of Recess right now. Because if we don't challenge broken systems, they calcify. As far as the biggest question I always have, man, because you seem to be, and this is subjective to me. I think it's subjective, to be honest, that you seem to be the only sane person to me when it comes to thought processes through a lot of this political garbage on CNN. People that are probably really good, decent people after they get off the set, you probably go have some cokes with them or whatever. But what is it like being you, having to listen to that every day, and the guests that come on and they say nonsensical stuff? Like, what is it like being Scott Jennings on the CNN?
Well, it's a good question, and I encounter a lot of different kinds of people. And I've been there for a number of years, so I've seen a lot of people come and go. And I just want to start by saying CNN's been a really good place to work.
Yeah.
Like, I like being there. It's a good community. They've treated me nicely, and also I don't. No one ever tells me what to say. There's no censorship.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a teleprompter and they say, you must read this. What you're hearing are my authentic thoughts and views. That's what everybody should know, number one. Number two, I do run into people who frankly say things that I just vehemently disagree with. I think they're misguided. And oftentimes, I think the best role that I can play is just to ask very simple questions that get to the real heart of the matter and are expositive of what the liberal mindset is. And some people handle that better than others.
Yeah.
I mean, recently, I've been on TV with people who've said, honestly, crazy things. America caused 9/11. We had it coming. Was one the other night. Somebody was pushing the lobster and steak hoax, the Pete Hegseth lobster hoax of 2026, and I had to deal with that by asking a very simple question. And I think, look, if you're going to bring stuff to the air, you need to be prepared to be questioned. And it may look confrontational on the air, but I think that's valuable for the audience. There are a few people that I work with that I really like and admire. I'll tell you two, honestly, David Axelrod and Van Jones. Now, people may say, how could you possibly have anything in common with them? But I'll tell you one thing about those guys that's true. They open their hearts and their ears before they open their mouths. That is a good rule for life. Now, we don't often find common ground on things, although I have to say, Van and I frequently, find ourselves, particularly on some issues dealing with like Israel and anti-Semitism and stuff. He's been a rock on that. And on political strategy, Axe and I often find ourselves coming to the same viewpoint when it comes to just strategic, like why would a politician do this or that? Are we going to agree on everything? No. They don't like Donald Trump, of course. But I find them to be good faith arguers. And they're capable of doing something more than just reading the talking points.
Right.
That's probably what drives me the craziest. You walk in and you've got your little speech you want to make, and then you can't take it any farther than that. And that, to me, Does it make our audience any smarter? And by that, I cannot abide. And that's when Scott Jennings question mode, beast mode comes out.
You need to make a shirt, Scott Jennings beast mode, man. Is it because being on television is very difficult, right? You guys are live.
It's live. Yeah.
I mean, you got a suit on. You know, you want to look good, right? You don't. Your mama watching or whatever, whoever's. Some of these young people that come on, their mamas are watching them, and when you learn to go on television or present, you learn to get your talking points. And a lot of times they teach people, if all else fails, stick to your talking points.
Yeah.
The difference is like someone like you're processing the thoughts and you have enough information in your mind that you can articulate off the cuff in different directions based on what's presented to the panel. Some people don't do that because they're afraid they don't have enough substance. So they have to say, well, I got to stick to my talking points. Okay, I'm off. He questioned me on this. Well, I didn't think about that. I got to stick to my talking points so I look good on TV. Do you think that's most of what it is? Or are people just hell-bent on making Trump look bad or disagreeing with you and Republicans that they don't want to do anything else but pitch a specific propaganda?
You've opened up a lot of issues here, so I'm going to work through them as they come to my mind. Number one, I think there's a difference between being a commentator and a politician. When you talk about people being on message, politicians, they have a message, they have a point of view, they're going to vote a certain way on an issue, and they have a way to explain that. That's their job. Our job as commentators are, I think, to react thoughtfully, which means to show up prepared. You don't have to react like a politician. You can be a little humorous. You could maybe question your own side sometimes, which I do. But I don't have to react like, some politician who, their staff or their party expects them to do something. That's number one. Number two, active listening. You'd be shocked at the number of people who do not listen to a thing that's being said, even though they're sitting in front of a live television camera. And I think the best commentators are the ones who listen and then react to the conversation. So if you and I were debating, the war or immigration or any issue, it's my job not just to read you my talking points, but to listen to what you say so that I can react to it in a way that makes me a more thoughtful commentator or debater. That's better for the audience.
Right.
And it kind of drives me crazy. We get paid all this money to go on TV and debate these issues. So that means I got to show up prepared. Right. I got to be prepared to listen to you. I have to be prepared to refute you. I have to be prepared to react to your attacks on me. But that just goes back to any job. Like, whatever you're showing up for, your employer expects you to show up prepared. Prepared. Some people are showed up prepared to read 3 things off a paper. Some people are show up prepared to debate. And to me, those are the best moments because it's like, okay, you got 2 people that really showed up and it's not just their reading, they're thinking.
Yeah.
And what kind of commentator would you rather watch? A thinking, debating commentator or somebody who's just reading whatever somebody handed them?
Right. I like the one like you and others that do come on and have a compelling conversation. Is somebody who they actually take this seriously.
Yes.
Which means they are thoughtful. They watch television. They do these research. They look up stuff. They want to make sure that their arguments are polished and also informative and factual. And then they're studied enough that when you go off the cuff to say something, they've already thought of these things because this is their job. This is what they do for a living.
Yes.
They're not just, it's not a side hustle where they run in there and do that.
You said it. Do you take this seriously or not? I take it very seriously. Every day I wake up and I can't believe that some, redneck from Dawson Springs, Kentucky, they're letting talk on CNN about things going on in the world. It's a privilege. It's a privilege. And I take this job very seriously. And that means I prepare. That means I study. It means, oftentimes it means I ingest and analyze a lot of information that I never even use, but I'm prepared to.
Yeah.
I'm prepared. I'm prepared for whatever happens.
But the world is on your shoulders, man. I think in the conservative world, right? Because you are our only voice, relatively speaking. They have some other conservative voices on there, but for the most part, you're our only voice in that atmosphere. Like, I think this is a gift and curse for CNN because one is it's a gift for them because I'm watching it because I want to see what you have to say.
Sure.
And it's entertaining because it's not just one-sided. But then also, I want to say it's kind of like a curse because they get challenged every single day. And it's apparent that, in my opinion, that most of them are unprepared or they don't have a well thought out message and they have an agenda that's very clear. they put the agenda out there, and if you weren't there, it'll just be a bunch of talking points and people just objecting to everything Trump is doing with no thought process. Like the PHEXF thing. The guy on there, literally, he thought. I mean, my 5-year-old could put that together a little better than that. He literally thought PHEXF took millions of dollars worth of lobster and steak, and I don't know, had it at a warehouse somewhere, and he was eating it every day with his family. Like, he literally, you said, do you think that PHEXF it's like using this for his personal. Yeah,
I said,
the military. He said the military isn't getting any of this. What?
I know. I asked him. I gave him a chance. See, that's the thing. By the way, I love Paul Begala, and he's been exceedingly nice to me over the years, and he's a legend of punditry and politics. But I said, the military. I gave him an out.
Yes.
And he said, "Oh, you think that?" He mocked me for it. And then, of course, within 45 minutes, the internet is like producing videos of soldiers eating the steak and the lobster. Of course. If you would look, that's a good example, though, of a story that started in like Democratic, fringe internet circles. But you can see how quickly it bubbled up to a mainstream guy like Paul Begala. And he just kind of bought it without stopping to think, maybe I should like Google this before I get into it. And if you'd Googled it, you'd see pictures of the Obamas serving steak and lobster to the troops. You'd see a press release about Secretary Austin from the Biden years buying nice food for the troops. This is a decades-long military tradition. Right. And by the way, every American I know says, we ought to feed these men and women anything they want because they're protecting us. So even if it's true, we do spend money on this, it's a good thing.
Right.
It's a good thing. And so the idea that you would come to the air and like with a straight face say, Pete Hegseth ate $7 million worth of lobster and not expect someone like me, to shift into beast mode? Like, come on, man. Like, honestly, this is not believable. Yeah. But on the, you probably see some of this stuff. I see stuff like that in the fringe Democratic, like social media on X and different. Man, they'll believe anything. They'll believe anything.
Right. One thing you said to me I thought was incredible was that sometimes, and it's something that we all have to perceptualize because some people are good people. They have good intentions. They've never talked to a conservative before.
Yes.
Like I see people like this all the time. When I go on campuses and I talk to these young people, of course, the ones that are completely ridiculous, they make the highlight tape. But the actual young people who are really coming and they want to ask me a question, and they've never heard anybody say any of the things. They've never heard any of these factual realities when it comes to Trump and things that he's done or what Iran has done and why we're going to war, anything in Gaza, in Venezuela, with taxes, tariffs, housing, Mamdani, and the ridiculous things that he actually say that gets called out. They've never heard that.
No.
And when they hear it, a lot of reasonable people that disagree, they go,
I didn't know that.
Wow.
What you're talking about, and I run into this on CNN a lot. I debate people sometimes, and it becomes clear in the middle of the debate, there's a whole set of information they are not aware of. And honestly, I think as a culture and as a society, it's something we got to wrestle with. It is hard to have a shared national purpose when we do not have a shared reality. And for a lot of these liberals and people on the left, they're only interacting with themselves, and they're only interacting with information that confirms their priors. And some of that information is bogus. And so when that comes in contact with a conservative or just anyone else who has access to other facts, other information, you can see it melts like a paper straw, and they don't emotionally often know how to deal with that because I think this is another problem with people on the left is, their debates tend to be ruled by emotion. Ours tend to be ruled by facts, logic, rational decision-making, real arguments. They're very emotional, particularly when it comes to Trump stuff. If he does something, we're emotional. If he enacts a policy, we're emotional. If I get told a piece of information that confirms something bad about Trump, I'm emotional. They try to drag you into that. And that's one thing about debating live on the air. You can never let yourself get drug in to the emotional mud because that's where they want you. And as conservatives, we have to stay above that with facts, logic, rational thinking. That's where and good humor and good faith, that's where we win.